Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of 5 Minutes, Please. Bus Panj Minute. I would continue from where I left yesterday. It was all about how I got initiated into journalism. It was a very interesting story. And at that time, when I was a school-going kid, and I started taking interest in newspapers, so my first observation was that why there were so many few newspapers in Punjabi and Hindi, because those days Urdu newspaper used to dominate Punjab market. Hind Samachar was a very big newspaper, followed by Pratap in Urdu and Milap also in Urdu. And these papers, Hind Samachar had a Hindi newspaper called Punjab Kesari. Veer Pratap was the Hindi publication of Pratap, and Hindi Milap was the publication of Milap paper. And in Punjabi, it was Jathedar, Ajit, Akali Patrika, Qaumi Dard, and Nawan Zamana. Nawan Zamana came little later, but none of the Punjabi papers had any Urdu paper. That was very, very like contrasting comparison, because at that stage, the Tribune was the only English newspaper in this region. And people who used to read Urdu newspapers, the number was very large compared to those who would read Punjabi newspapers. So Urdu and Hindi combined those days dominated newspaper industry, as Punjabi readership was not that large and English was limited only to those who were educated or those who were living in big towns like Ludhiana, Jalandhar, Patiala, Amritsar, Khanna, and business towns like Sarhand, Rajpura, things like this. And the penetration of English newspaper, the Tribune, was far less in deep Maja and deep Malwa belts. It was very strange because after partition, language was one of the main conflicting points in Punjab. And Akalis at that time, when they settled down and they were in partnership with Congress in running the state government, they kept on reviving their demand for Punjabi Suba and Punjabi speaking state. They always insisted that why, when other states are based on linguistics, why not Punjab? Why not Punjab should get a Punjabi Suba? So, when in 1965, Master Tara Singh gave a call for Akali MLAs who were a part of, at that time, the Congress government, only a very few came out of the government, rest, more than 20, stayed back in Congress. But after 66, Congress and Akalis parted ways politically, and they then started opposing each other in elections, and they had turns at running the government in the state. So that is the history everybody knows. And Hindi papers and Urdu papers used to advocate, especially to the Hindu readers, that they must not opt for Punjabi as mother tongue whenever the surveys or census were conducted. So they would invariably say their mother tongue is Hindi, and only Sikhs and maybe some hardcore Hindus who loved Punjabi so much, they said no, Punjabi is their mother tongue. So much so that even in education institutions those times, the division was very, very clear. I went to a government school for my first, like at that time they used to call it primary classes, up to 5th standard. When I went for my admission test, I was asked to write one page in Punjabi and one page in English. So I did that because it was an English medium school, and at that time, since there were no convent schools, so it was the only school in that area which used English and Punjabi as the basic medium of instruction. And the other choice was Hindi and English. So in our section, at that time, there are two sections in our class, class 1 or class 2, 35 boys and girls in one. It was a co-ed school, all Sikh boys and Sikh girls. And in Hindi section, except for 4, 2 boys and 2 girls, the rest were all from Hindu families. So that the divide was complete. The only Sikh boys in Hindi section were Mr. Rajinder Singh Bhatia, who ultimately topped middle standard examination district list and Punjab list in matriculation examination in 1970, and Parminder Singh. He was son of a lecturer in English, Professor Joginder Singh, and his mother was a teacher in the same school where we were studying. And the 2 girls, Sikh girls, were Kamaljeet Kaur, her mother, Mrs. Manar Singh, widow of Captain Manar Singh, and Parneet Kaur, because she had come from Bombay. So they had migrated from Bombay, so we couldn't expect her to know Punjabi. So 2 girls, 2 boys in Hindi section, they came from Sikh families. So this divide was very obvious. Punjabi is the language of Sikhs and Hindi is the language of Hindus of Punjab after partition. Though they had and they were trying to put behind those gory incidents when Muslims clashed with both Hindus and Sikhs, and there was a lot of bloodshed during the partition in 1947. And after the partition, when both the communities settled down in their new homes, Sikhs in Indian Punjab and Sikhs and Hindus in Indian Punjab and Muslims in Pakistan and Punjab, and some Muslims still, they opted for Punjab, and likewise some Sikh families or some Hindu families, they continue to stay in Pakistan. But that divide spilled over into independent Punjab, as was reflected, as I said, in my school or many other schools. So even the media at that time, the editors of those papers, they used to write serialized editorials, 100 editorials, editor number 110th, editor number 112th, editor number 118th. And they always talked about the religious, communal, and linguistic divide. So that division continued for a while, not for 5, 6, 10 years, but for over more than 3 decades. And that was one reason when the demand for Punjabi Suba grew, the communal tension also grew in Punjab at times, and that's why many Hindus were targeted, which was very unfortunate and very sad for Punjab, that after so many sacrifices, when they got freedom, they were still not united, and they still didn't understand that while being divided, they are doing great harm to their next generation and sowing seeds of racial discrimination or religious hatred for each other. But somehow many like-minded people, many good-thinking people, they try to work on this problem and try to find an amiable solution so that people can live peacefully together. And when I moved to 9th standard and 10th standard in government high school, Civil Line, Cemetery Road, this divide, the linguistic and religious divide, was almost over. Our section, A section, used to comprise of students who had secured 65 or higher % of marks in middle standard examination, And the other section used to be of students who had scored less than 65% marks in middle standard examination. Religion and language was no more a criteria in ninth and 10th standard. That was very positive, and it was a good sign for the society to emerge stronger and unified. So that was Punjab, and that was how the journalism was shaping up in Punjab and the role the Jalandhar papers played during those days. And since the Tribune was the only English newspaper, it enjoyed tremendous credibility those days, and it was basically a unifying force as it didn't take sides and always stayed apolitical and didn't support any linguistic, religious, or communal divide. So that's why Tribune was the household word in Punjab those days. And this is how journalism played its role, vernacular press versus English press. And Punjab had some very tough times, but it survived and progressed to become number one state in that country. So this is what I wanted to say in this episode. So next time I'll come up with another interesting subject, and till then, goodbye.